A 15-year-old with no money, no connections, and a stand that makes frogs just took over the most powerful criminal organization in Italy. Before we talk about how, let's talk about what exactly he just inherited, because the number is insane. Before we get to money, let's establish what we're actually dealing with. Passione has 756 members. For context, the real Camorra, which operates out of the same city, has an estimated 10,000 members across 115 factions. Passione is roughly 13 times smaller. So how does a 756-person gang become the most feared organization in Italy? Two reasons. First, stand users. The majority of Passione's members aren't just criminals, they're superhuman. A normal gang needs hundreds of people to control a neighborhood. Passione needs one guy who can age you to death by touching you. Second, Naples itself. Naples isn't just a city, it's the entry point for drugs moving from the Middle East into Europe. Whoever controls Naples controls the pipeline, and Passione controls Naples completely. Every hotel, every business, every gambling operation, every street-level deal. From that base, they extended operations into Rome and Venice, the three cities that matter most economically, which financially is close enough. Now here's where things get ridiculous. Passione's main income source is drugs. We can estimate this pretty accurately by looking at the real Camorra, which generates around 3.3 billion euros per year, and that's an estimate. Other Italian government figures put it higher. Passione is, of course, smaller, so let's say it pulls somewhere around 1 to 2 billion euros per year from drugs. And now we forget about that because Giorno became the mafia boss, and his first major act as boss is shutting down the drug trade. Okay, what would Passione's main sources of income be without drugs? Now we are left with gambling, which is another major canon revenue source. We also got extortions, hotels, and legitimate businesses used as fronts, and contraband. The number looks amazing. You even start to envy Giorno, but we still have expenses, and oh, how many of them?
I would like one spaghetti, please, and put it in a cone.
What?
You know what? Make it two. I want to eat both in front of that fucking kid over there.
Can do!
The bulk, probably 600 or so, are street-level operators. Dealers, enforcers, drivers. In real Naples organized crime, that tier earns roughly 1,000 euros per month on average. That's 600,000 euros per month, and about 7 million euros per year. Above them, capos, team leaders, mid-level operators. Bucciarati's tier, maybe 100 people, at 5,000 to 15,000 euros per month. Another 12 million euros per year. Last tier, the elite. La Squadra, Unità Speciale, Sezione Droghe, maybe 50 people. Now we have a real financial problem here. How much do you pay to a person that can manipulate iron inside your body? Or a person who can drag you to another mirror dimension? Under Diavolo, Passione was efficient because of stand users, but almost all of these people are dead by the end of part 5. Giorno technically saves money here, but let's say he keeps 20 stand users in the mafia close to himself. In real-world top operators make $500,000 to $2 million per year, and those people have no stands. Therefore, estimated fair market salary for elite stand users, 10 million per person per year, which is 200 million only for the elite tier. Okay, drugs are gone, but Passione still has to move everything else. Let's start with weapons. Venice isn't just a tourist destination, it's one of Italy's busiest ports. Weapons flowing in from Eastern Europe, the Middle East, private buyers across the continent. Every shipment needs a boat, a dock worker on the payroll, a warehouse, and a truck that doesn't get stopped at checkpoints. Real arms trafficking operations cost anywhere from 5 to 20 million euros per year just in logistics infrastructure, and that's before the actual product. Then there's movement of people. Passione's stand users are constantly being deployed across Naples, Rome, and Venice. The Camorra spends an estimated 50 to 100 million euros per year on operational infrastructure of this kind. Passione, running leaner, probably closer to 30 to 60 million euros. Now here's the one nobody talks about, the bodies. Passione kills a lot of people, and bodies are a logistics problem. You need people who know how to make them disappear, and those people charge accordingly. In real organized crime, body disposal is especially specialized service. The Ndrangheta famously used industrial equipment. The Camorra used construction sites. Conservative estimate for cleanup operations, 5 to 10 million euros per year. Also, Passione probably has to control politicians to make business easier. In the 1990s, the Tangentopoli scandal, literally nicknamed Bribesville, exposed billions of euros flowing through corruption networks across Italy. Passione doesn't bribe everyone. That would be too expensive. They bribe only the right people. Local police, port authorities, politicians who oversee Naples. That's targeted and efficient corruption. That probably costs Passione somewhere around 50 to 150 million euros yearly. So let's round it up to 100 million euros. We should also consider the fact that Giorno inherits a damaged empire. The organization just went through civil war, internal betrayal, elite member losses, and financial disruption. Now Giorno has to rebuild it all, which means recruiting new members, reorganizing territories, and stabilizing revenue. That should also cost absurd amounts of money. Giorno will probably have to sell the Arrow. By the way, how much does the Arrow actually cost? Passione owns at least one. There is no market for this, isn't it? Let's try to put a number on it anyway. The Arrow is a meteorite fragment with the ability to awaken superhuman powers in anyone it pierces, assuming they survive. One Arrow can theoretically create an unlimited number of stand users. It doesn't run out and doesn't break down. A government, say the Italian military, would pay almost anything to field a unit of stand users. NATO's entire annual budget is around 300 billion euros. A single Arrow that could create superhuman soldiers? Conservatively, 10 to 50 billion euros in a military procurement context. The Speedwagon Foundation, which exists specifically to study and contain supernatural phenomena, would probably pay even more. Not to use it, but to make sure nobody else does. Their budget is never stated in canon, but they operate globally with private jets, submarines, and research facilities. 5 to 20 billion euros seems conservative. A private buyer, a billionaire, a nation-state, a rival organization who understood what they were holding, the sky is the limit. Realistically, 50 billion euros or more. We won't count it in our balance, but let's just take into account. Yeah, that was complicated. There are probably many more aspects to consider, both in terms of expenses and earnings, but it is impossible to calculate all of this accurately. Now let's add everything up. 7 million euros for street base operators, 12 million euros per year for capos, team leaders, and mid-level operators, 200 million euros for the elite tier, which are the stand users. Thus, 219 million euros a year are spent on the salaries of all mafia members alone. Adding 100 million euros per year to buy politicians and bribery, 60 million euros per year for logistics, and 10 million euros per year for body disposal. This makes 390 million euros against estimated revenue of 700 million euros. That's a profit margin of roughly 310 million euros per year. It certainly doesn't sound like much for the mafia. Well, they also have an Arrow. Please write in the comments if you like the video and if I am a LARPer.